One of the best places to talk about football is probably the English pub. Tonight I've got a few friends of mine down here tonight to do just that. Some of us need introductions and some of us don't. Obviously on my right, Rodney Marsh. He's played a bit in his time. He's now working as a football purist, so hopefully he can enlighten us a little bit on what the game's all about. Luther Blissett scored a hat-trick once for England, and I was there as a young boy, and I see him score many for Watford. Alan Mullery, a big Tottenham man in his time, still is.
I was there as a boy when he scored a hat-trick as well.
And just so it's not an all male affair, we've got Mary Parkinson with us as well. We're just going to basically talk about football and what's going to go on this season and what's gone on in the past. We can jump in when we like, fellas. Luther, if you want to start off, there's a big campaign now, racism in football.
Yeah, well, it's been going on for quite a while, hasn't it? And I mean, to be fair, we did go some way to sorting it out, for a little while. But I think now it's really been hidden down. It's changed now. The sort of racism you get in football now, and I think not only in football, in society now, it's not as obvious as it once was. It's now done in a more subtle way, and it's very difficult to put your finger on it sometimes when it's been done. You're not sometimes aware of it until after it's occurred, So it is difficult.
And how can David Mellor help? I mean, David Mellor's been thrown in. Can he help? Rodney's laughing, and that was the first thing I'd done as well when I heard about it, to be honest.
Well, I don't know if he can help. I think it's down to each and every one of us to help to try and put it right. I mean, in football, to be fair, all the clubs, they've all done very well to curtail it a great deal, but the hardcore people that go around, and they'll always be that way. I mean, because it's inbred in them. They've grown up that way, and it's very, very difficult. And if they're bringing up their kids in that manner as well, then, I mean, that's where it's really got to go about changing it, is down where the kids are.
But do you think that David Mellor, Tony Banks or anybody else can change it? They can't change it.
No, they can't. No, they can't do it. It's something we've really got to educate, and we've got to wake up to the idea that really we can't go around and have the prejudice that we have about people's race and colour. I mean, it's crazy.
But what about, Alan, does it gall you that people that haven't even played the game are making big decisions on the game?
Well, when I first heard that David Mellor was going to work with Tony Banks, I mean, Tony Banks
applied for his job. That's what I'm going to say.
Well done. No, but I'm available. I thought to myself, what a good win double with those two. I mean, both Chelsea supporters. What are they going to do for, i.e., the general public and racism? As Luther says, the Football Association, the PFA, have been fighting that anyway. It's now very, very strong in that department. As Luther said, I think you've got to educate people that as they're growing up. If you look at little lads, there's no discrepancy at all between black and white, is there, when they go to school? It seems to fester once they get a little bit older. And I think we've got so many lads now, playing in this country, that were born in this country and entitled to play, that are coloured lads and excellent footballers, that I think it's slowly going away. It's only in the older type of person that still has that sort of attitude.
You've got your chat show after a game. I mean, do you feel racism over the radio?
No, I don't.
When you go to games, you go to a lot of games, same as yourself.
Yeah.
Do you feel that, Mary?
Yes, I do, and I think I think the racism is amongst it's the fans. And they were saying some statistic that it's a really small percentage of fans are coloured, from ethnic minorities.
Maybe they're worried about going to football because it is.
I've seen the team that I support, fans from our team beating up a coloured guy on the train.
Yeah, but is it because he's a coloured guy, or because he's got a different scarf on? They must
Manchester United, though, isn't it? You're a Manchester United supporter. They beat up anybody, don't they?
I remember many years ago when Peter Cook, the marvellous comedian with Dudley Moore, was a big Spurs supporter, and we were playing Manchester United one day in the Cup at Manchester, and we were flying back after the game, which was unusual in those days. And as we were waiting at the airport, I think we drew, and there was a replay going, and Peter Cook came in. He was covered in blood, and as he'd come out, exactly what you were saying, a load of people had beaten him up, not because he was Peter Cook, but he was wearing a Tottenham scarf. And that's it. No, not at all. No, that was Dudley Moore. What I'm saying is that it is a good point, because it's the rivalry between the two sets of supporters.
Do you not think the more racism is spoken about, the more of a problem it's going to be? Why don't people just stop talking about it and let it go away?
Well, in many ways it is, because you go back to when the hooliganism and stuff like that was going on. I mean, when it was on the front page of every newspaper, you got all the idiots out there. That's me. I want to be on the front page. They all wanted to. They want to go on the front page.
When you went to Italy, Paul Ince, when he first arrived, there was racism from the crowd. But did you find that when you went?
But in that degree, it's no different to what you experience in most places you go. because there's always a resentment when you go somewhere new that it's that thing and they're coming to take our jobs. I mean, people have got this inner fear, haven't they? It's insecurity or whatever it might be, and people do feel that way. But I never really experienced anything like that at all. I mean, you do hear the odd occasional thing, but people will be like that because people have got opinions on whatever.
Would you say then that with Paul Ince that was part of him being English and going to play in it?
I think that was more because of the fact he's English, not that he's black. The fact that he's English and he's going.
To West Ham when he was playing for United was absolutely. I mean, that was disgraceful. We've got bananas. Yeah, we got the bananas on the pitch and the coins.
There's a good point what Vinnie said about being supporters and whatever.
I had it with Fash at one ground. They all threw the bananas on, and I just I went straight over to defuse it. I went straight over and peeled a banana and ate it and just threw it back.
Good for you.
Just say, well, but when you talk about racism, there is another side of it. Like every ground I go to, I get more abuse than any of the other lads. It's not because I play for Wales.
Nothing wrong with that. What do you think we're doing? Before you arrive, we make sure we wind the old crowd out, don't we?
Yeah, but I mean, do we say we'll have a campaign for not having to go at the opposition players then?
No.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what
you can say it's racism.
Yeah, I know, but it's different, isn't it? I mean, that is different because they're picking on you because things that they read about you in the paper or whatever. Yeah, but that's the reason why they're picking on you specifically. But they're picking on it's a racial thing. It's just generally because you happen to be a different colour or a different, and I think that is wrong. I don't think that is right at all. I mean, they shouldn't pick on people just because of what they've done. Everybody should be judged on their own merits, and they should judge on what you do on the day when you're out there playing, not on what has gone on before. And I think that is the big problem.
How long will it take, Rod? Will it go away, and can it go away? How long will it take?
It will go away because I spend a lot of time in America. In America, they've got basketball, which is a massive sport in America, obviously. And most of the players are black players in basketball, right? And 20 years ago, there was racism in American sports, but that's all gone by the board now. People have realised that. I mean, Michael Jordan is making £45 million a year, right? So they've now escalated their stars over there to such a level, that they're the highest paid athletes that black players are. And everybody's now saying, well, okay, I mean, they're on the same level as everybody else, good luck to them. I think that's going to happen in football eventually.
Is it good for the game, all these foreigners now? Do you think, is it that good? I mean, is it good for the prices?
The big problem we got is like today, on my way here, I was listening on the radio, Lombardo is signed for Crystal Palace. Now they've got him reputedly for 1.6 million. Now, look at Arsenal trying to buy Graham Lascelles or Tottenham buying Les Ferdinand for 6.5 million. The prices they can get foreign players for. I don't think it's essential that they're going to be better than what we've got. They're cheaper. And when you work it out money-wise, over a period of time, if you work Les's deal out over 4 years, you're talking about 12, 13
So then why have they left, say, the FA and the PFA, why have they left it so late that they can get all this influx in, and they're saying, oh, we're going to change it next year, so when their contract's up next year, English players, then they can move on. Is it going to? I think it's going to be too late. I tried to do it,
But you knew when the Bosman ruling came about 2 years ago that you could win it. And we all knew that they could
basically
win it.
I did win it anyway.
Yes, you did. Because now it's happened.
Yeah, it's happened. So I did win it.
So what we're saying is...
It's not a legal victory, though.
No, it's not a legal victory. They've done it.
That's a concession by the PFA, isn't it?
Yeah, but when you say concession, I mean, he could have done it 2 years ago, the same time as they did. Holland did it, the Dutch did it, didn't they? And players would go from club to club when they're out of contract.
I'll tell you what, though, that's a double-edged sword. I'll tell you why. You look at something that happened this week. You've got to look at Bradbury, the boy that's been transferred from Portsmouth, right?
The Watford boy?
Was it £3 million?
£3.5 million.
Right. And this week, Reela has signed
1.9.
That to me makes no sense
The difference in
whatsoever.
their wages.
That is the thing. I mean, that is the thing. The wages, their wages are astronomical to us. That's why Leonardson wanted to leave Wimbledon. Yeah. Because basically, we've got a wage structure at Wimbledon. And myself or Dean Holdsworth can't break that too much. Right. Now, Leonardson's saying, you give me that, or else I'm going to go.
Is that now going to happen with Lombardo at Crystal Palace? Because Crystal Palace would never be in that position, as you know yourself, because you play at the same place. Look at Ravenel. With what they've got to play Lombardo compared to what they've got to play.
Mullers, what would you say, Luke, what would you say, sorry Mary, it's just it's because they played. I'm just saying, if I'd have played with a fella, and we went down and straight away he slung the cards in and wanted to go off, I wouldn't have had him back in my team anyway. And at Wimbledon, the lads wouldn't have him in the dressing room.
He's priced himself out of the market, hasn't he, Rodney? It serves him right.
Well, I think he talks about himself out the dressing room as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had him back in my dressing room.
It'd be very, very difficult to get back in the dressing room. I mean, even at a club like Watford at the time, it'd be very difficult. Plate have done what he's done. He's jumped ship because he's gone down, and he has been a part of that team that has gone down. I mean, he's played his part in it. They've gone down. He's got to say, I'm going to honour the contract I've signed. You paid me good money to come here.
Yeah, but is that a foreign player that does
No,
that?
it isn't. No, they don't do that.
You went from this country
yeah,
to
but
Italy.
foreign players are different in that way.
Yes.
I mean, they've come here and all they look for is they're only interested in themselves. They've not come for the benefit of Middlesbrough or Manchester United, wherever. They've come for their own benefit. They've come here to make good money, play for that club forever long, and when the success doesn't look like it's going to come, they want to move on. English players want to move on.
There's a big danger. I'll tell you what danger is. I've got to say allegedly about what I'm about to say because I can't prove it, right? And I won't tell you where the source came from. But Anders Limpar, when he left Arsenal, was negotiating with 3 clubs. One of the clubs he was negotiating with was Manchester City. And when he went to talk to Manchester City about his contracts, he agreed the terms of the contract, apparently, allegedly, right? But said that if Manchester City got relegated, he could become a free agent. And Francis Lee said,
Well, good for him.
good for Francis Lee, yeah, absolutely right. But that's the mentality of players, foreign players that come to this country. They only want to play at the best level, and rightly so. But any player that comes and says, well, if I go down, I want out, I mean, who wants that type of player? Would you want that type of player at Manchester United?
Yeah, but surely the chairman at the club's got to do
on that
that.
basis, didn't we? He had in his contract that if Forest were relegated, he could move. That they wouldn't stop his move. I believe that.
Chairman and managers agree with that. Surely then it's fine, isn't it?
I think that puts a cancer in the dressing room in the club.
Has it changed his attitude, Vinnie? Roy Keane, the way he plays? You see that too. His attitude to playing is a very, he's a great player. Passes the ball, got a great engine, tackles people and this, that, and a great motivator. Yeah. But that hasn't changed his attitude from the way he played at Nottingham Forest to the way he plays at Manchester United. Now he's the same player, and yet he had that, as Mary said, in his contract.
Yeah, but that would have been put in by the agents. I mean, I'm sure that it's, you know more than me on this, but agents are running how football players move between the clubs now, aren't they? I mean, because it's in their interests.
I mean, that's another thing altogether, isn't it? Because people that are in charge in football, on that side of the hand they'll say I hate agents, and on that side of the hand they'll go in their office and phone one up.
Yeah.
So that, so straight away from the top, it's got to be wrong, and that comes down. So you can't.
Most times, though, Vin, you can't do
Francis Lee said get out the
speaking
door.
to the agents.
Francis Lee said get out the door. If they all say that, these contracts wouldn't be. You can just rip them up. People wouldn't be on them.
But you can't do business now without speaking to the agents.
Tell us just a little bit quickly about how you go abroad. You went abroad.
Yeah.
How was it? I mean, I'd like to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
But they didn't want anyone with a long throat.
Yeah, but that was the wrong time. Now they would. Now you wouldn't have a problem with that because they're all into that now. No, when I went abroad, it was. I think I just went to Milan at the wrong time. They were in a transition period when I went there, and the team really was going nowhere, and I was just there at the wrong time. I think if I'd gone there maybe 2 or so years later, I'd have probably been more of a success when I went there. But, I mean, 7 goals at the time when I went there weren't bad, was it?
Well, he's still got some of his signed on fee left, hopefully, so we're going to try and get him to the bar.